Hey everyone, welcome to the Work Podcast. I'm Jake Hamilton. I am the founder and CEO of The Fight, and we are going to explore people's questions. They are going to call live on air, and we are going to discuss with them a very specific topic, circumstance, or situation that they are dealing with. And what we are going to find more often than not is our pain, our situations that we find ourselves in are deeply connected to our story. And we may think we have it all figured out, but once we start pulling on that thread, we find unexplored parts of ourselves that reveal what we're really experiencing on the inside, which is so connected to how we behave on the outside. So let's jump right in and let's get to our first caller. Jacob, what is your question today for the Work Podcast?
Hey Jake. Yeah, my question is like in a lot of group environments, when there are people that tend to have authority in those environments, I can get a little bit combative and kind of feel insecure, and I start to shut down emotionally. And that seems to be a repeating problem across multiple environments. And I just wanted to get some insight into that.
Well, is it specific groups, specific areas? Is it gendered? Is it like, hey, if it's a group of men, if it's a group of women? Is there a little more specifics you can give me to that?
Yeah. A lot of times it's in the religious environments. So regardless if it's a small group or a meeting with a pastor or someone that thinks they have some form of authority they can lord over me.
I love the wording you just chose, that think that they can lord it over me. That's kind of telling. So tell me more about what do you feel, what part of you gets combative? You use the word combative.
Mhm.
What part of you gets combative?
uh, Deep down inside. No,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, there's a lot of different things that I guess take place in that moment. I just never feel safe. I guess I feel personally attacked when someone tries to treat me like a project.
Right, but is it coming off as like the intellectual part of me gets combative, the emotional part of me gets combative, the spiritual part of me, the father, the son, the man, like which part really gets combative in those moments? Which part, because when we become combative, we're obviously defending something. So what part of you is getting defensive? In those moments, what part of you starts to show up and feel like, hey, I've got to do some defending here because you're going to try to take advantage of me.
I think it's a little bit of all, but when you said that, I think emotion really stands out because there's a lot of built up emotion in these environments, and so it just wants to unleash. But then there's also the logical side, or theologically, maybe they're pushing something that may not be correct.
So would
Um,
you say, so just to clarify on that, like you're basically saying, hey, when I am in those environments, and then you correct me on my language, when I get into those environments, I don't feel like I'm going to be emotionally cared for. So I'm going to defend myself emotionally to make sure I don't get taken advantage of.
yeah, I would say that's pretty spot on.
Okay, so when did it first started? When did this first start happening, or when did you first start noticing it?
After I've been doing some work with you, uh,
Dang it!
I know. Thanks for that.
Yeah, no
It's
problem. That's what I'm
it's
here
on
for.
unearthing a lot of stuff. But I would say just more so recently, I've been able to name it. I was talking to my wife recently, and in regards to one of the small groups we're in, and just talking about how I don't feel safe in my environment, or my take on the situation is completely different than hers. She's like, I met the Lord, this was great, and I was like, are you serious? Like I felt attacked. I mean, I feel like there's this hierarchy with a clergy laity divide, and I once again it comes back down to me feeling like that project. So
Right. Right. So
yeah,
you're not going to take care of me. You're not going to provide for me the
yeah.
emotional care that I'm going to need. So I'm going to get combative. But what are you hoping to solve with your combativeness? What are you hoping the outcome is when you're combative?
I think I'm hoping that that I'm heard.
There it is.
Um, that's
That's
that's one of the
great.
big things.
That's really, really great naming right there. That is insanely good. Like, not only very vulnerable, but very courageous to say, I don't feel heard. Did you feel heard growing up?
No, not much.
Okay.
I mean, with some situations, but overall, I had to conform.
Right. And so was that in mostly religious environments growing up? You felt, I don't feel heard. I don't feel seen. So I have to step out, step up in order to make myself seen so that people will recognize me.
I had to put on a front in order to be seen.
Right. So that's the consistent narrative of moving forward and going, hey, there's a thread here because I'm still the boy inside of me. Because right, like sometimes we don't recognize this, but when we have like, there's a difference between a hero and a warrior, right? So a warrior is submitted to a cause greater than himself. He's willing to submit, to serve, to do those things because he knows there's a bigger thing involved. It's not just about him. It's not just about his ego. It's not just about exploits, but ultimately the hero is the little boy version of the warrior, which is I'm doing this so that I will get recognition. We see that in the story of the Green Knight, really old tale, but in the middle of it, it's like who's going to take on the Green Knight? And of course, we have Gawain who shows up. And he's like, I'll take his head off, and it's like he's not doing that for anybody else, but for himself because he wants to be recognized. So I'm saying all that to go: is there still some version of you that wants like, hey, I'm going to get combative because I need the recognition. I need to be seen and I need to be heard. Is that what you're hoping comes out of it?
To some extent, yes. Yeah. Oh,
What's the ultimate thing to come out of it for you? What's wish fulfilled? This is what came out of that. I got combative and
uh, maybe, yeah, I kind of want to be the hero. I want to fix
eh,
something. I see issues in people's lives. That's like, okay, you're telling me what to do. Now I'm going to tell you what to do because I see you have issues. So it kind of comes back down
right.
to that hero mindset.
Right.
And
And a lot of it, go ahead. Sorry, I apologize. Go ahead.
no, no, you're fine. I was gonna say I'll do that, or when I get worn down, I just shut down in those environments too. So it's like I finally realize I'm not gonna be the hero. So then I step back and withdraw, either emotionally or physically, and sometimes leave groups.
So I'm going to turn the question then back to you. What's another option? Like, if I'm going to get, like, do you believe that you are the only one in the room that's not broken?
Do I believe I'm the only one that's not broken?
Yep.
No, sometimes
Well, then why are
no.
you allowed to bring up what they're getting wrong?
I don't know. Just because I feel like that's what they're doing with me. Maybe that's the way they communicate. Uh,
But that's the way you feel.
yeah,
So you're giving an eye for an eye.
yeah.
What's another option?
To take it, to ask questions.
Ah, well,
No.
that's different. Like, yeah, I mean, there's difference. I can either be, the welcome mat that gets run over. I can be just, run over all the time. But I don't see a lot of Jesus getting run over. But I do see him doing a lot of sacrificing to people who did not deserve his presence, did not deserve the kind of attention and affection that they got from him. And I think like what I'm wondering is there another option to go, hey, listen, can we turn this into a conversation instead of me being combative? Because I know I'm reading this book right now. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's an old book by Thomas A. Kempis and The Imitation of Christ. And in one of those things, one of like the first couple chapters, one of the things it says at the end of it, he says, when men around you stumble and fall, just remember that their frailty is a reflection of your own, and that one day their frailty might become your frailty. And do not judge them now, lest they judge you later. And so I think that there's this part of masculinity that goes, hey, pay attention to me. Because as a little boy, I wasn't paid attention to. I need you to see me. Because I'm not dumb. I know what I'm talking about. I do know what I'm doing. But to say it out loud negates the fact that it's true. The combativeness of the hero negates the strength and the courage and the character of the warrior. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
How does that
does.
feel when I say that to you?
Um, Kind of convicting, but
But also, I'm a
uh,
total dick.
no, it's just hard to believe because it. No, I appreciate the bluntness, but it's one thing to have the head knowledge. It's the other
Right,
thing is just applying it because I feel like I've had head knowledge for a long time, and it's like, okay, cool, I
right,
can be kinder, I can ask questions, I can position myself in a different area. But when I have almost
right,
like a religious PTSD where someone does that, it's like I either shut down or I get combative, and it's
right.
like
Because
a
what's the
default state.
worst? Right, because what's the worst thing that's going to happen? What are you afraid is going to happen? What is give me worst case scenario? What's going to happen if you go the route that I just described? Thomas A. Kempis is describing. What is worst case scenario? Bottom line, me.
I look like a fool, or they think I'm dumb.
They think I'm dumb.
Yeah.
Did you feel that a lot growing up? You think I'm dumb?
To some extent, because
Yeah,
I don't feel like I could express myself how I needed to. I was kind of told how to express myself.
right. So by doing that, you must think I don't know what I'm doing, which means you think I'm dumb. The reason I'm bringing it up in that way is because there's not, that's a learned behavior. You know, little kids have to be taught that. It's not
Mm-hmm.
something they grow up with. They grow up thinking they can take on the planet as long as they're told so. But the
Mm-hmm.
moment I believe I'm dumb, I've made agreement somewhere with something that is not my true nature. It's not my true nature. And it's not yours, Jacob. It's not yours. And part of the sacrificing and serving that's going to be necessary is not for the benefit of the people around you, but just for the benefit of your heart. Because people can be cruel and they can be mean and they will be. But I mean, that's, now we're in Marcus Aurelius territory, meditations. Today I woke up and decided that everybody else was going to be mean and surly and act unfairly. And I just accepted it before I even get out of bed. And it's like, that is the reality. And if you can accept that prior, I wonder if instead of being combative, you could provide care for men who probably are doing that because they don't have care anywhere either. As we started working with Jacob, we realized that his aggression, his combativeness was with a very specific group of people. And when we dug into it a little further, we found that it wasn't because he was aggressive naturally towards that group, but he felt stupid in the midst of that group. He felt stupid in the midst of those connections. And I know so many men who are experiencing feeling stuck or stupid. And I think that instead of combative, we might want to start engaging with care. My point being in that is that so many times we end up missing an opportunity to grow ourselves because we're so aggressive towards those around us who we think are opposing us. But really, the person opposing us the whole time is just us. So we really want to pay attention to that. And again, continue to ask deeper questions. So let's jump into our next caller. All right. Our next caller is Michael. Michael, welcome to the Work Podcast. Tell me what your question is for us today.
Yeah, man. So I really struggle with feeling like I'm like good enough for people and
Come on.
just like I do enough even for like my family and stuff. And then it carries over into like all aspects of my life really. So I really
Mm.
struggle with that.
What do you think the root system is of that? How does that, well, let's ask this first. How does it show up in your life when you feel not good enough for the people around you or like you're not doing enough? How does that then show up? What do you do about that? What's your response to the people around you? How to react? How do you react?
Um so it depend I guess on the day really. Some days it could cause me to like push myself to like burn out basically or retract completely and just not do anything at all.
So when you're saying push yourself to burnout, are you saying just work and work and work and work until you're just grind out, or what does that
Yeah,
look like?
yeah, pushing till there's just nothing left, basically.
Okay. And does there a sense of feeling like you're enough when you're working hard? Is that the reward of working really, really hard, or is that a distraction or an escape from the feeling of not being enough?
I think it's a distraction and escape more than it's not a reward because it doesn't like take away anything. It gives me something, I guess, that I feel like I'm doing something at least.
So it's a form of escape working really hard. And then
Yeah,
how does your family experience that in your life? Like how do your wife and the rest of your family, do you have kids?
we have a 2-year old, so
Come on. So how does your wife and the family around you experience this version of you when you're feeling like not good enough? What do they experience on the other side?
um, she probably experiences that she feels like she's not good enough at the same time because I'm probably projecting that on her. In all
Okay,
honesty,
so for you, the cost of being around Michael when he's like this is he makes everyone else around him join him in the fact that we're all not good enough. We're all
yeah,
not enough.
yeah, pretty
Okay.
much.
And okay, so the question becomes what do you want to do about this? What do you want to do about this, Michael?
Oh, I want
Do
to
you
fix
want to
it.
fix it?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, and
obviously.
what's the opposite of this? And the thing is, it's not all obvious. I think you said obviously, but I think that it's not obvious all the time, because I think some people really enjoy sitting in the victimness, the victimhood of this, and saying like, well, poor me, woe is me, I'm not good enough. And there is like, I mean, I don't want to assume that you want to get out of it. You know what I mean? I think because you're calling, I can assume that. But I also want to give you permission to say, I'm okay with it. I just don't like the way it's affecting others. Or are you personally not okay with not feeling like enough anymore?
Yeah, it's me personally, and I'm okay with how it's affecting my wife and family.
Okay, when does this show up the most for you? When do you most feel not good enough?
Um, Probably just when I feel overwhelmed and just have like right now, like we have a 2-year-old, so not that our house is messy, but like there's toys everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
But like my garage, it's just like since he's been born, just been delayed and crashed, and
No.
I never have time. I feel like because I work so much, I feel like, and just put everything off. And
Okay, so you naturally get overwhelmed when there's too many things to do. You get overwhelmed and then you default to not good enough.
pretty much, yeah,
Okay. So when do you find, let's ask you the opposite question. When do you find yourself feeling like you're enough? Or maybe you don't touch it fully where you wish you were. Maybe you don't fully get there, right? But
yeah.
in your world, when do you feel like, oh, I'm getting towards I feel okay in this situation? This is providing that for me. When do you feel that?
Um, it's usually like in the little moments when me and my wife and my son are like having dinner or something together, and just like it's not perfect, but like we're together and there's like no distractions or anything like that going on.
And do you feel like you're enough for your wife?
Uh, Most of the time,
Well, it's a yes or no answer. Are you enough for your wife?
I think
If I
so.
was to ask her, is Michael enough for you? What would she tell me?
She would say yes,
Okay. Are you enough for your son?
yes,
Okay. So the people who mean the most to you, you told me that bring your anxiety goes down, your sense of shame and your sense of insecurity goes down. It drops. The level, the blood pressure, the whole thing drops when you're sitting in connection with these two people. And these two people will reflect back to you, you are enough for us. Is that true?
yes, sir.
Okay, so then who are you actually not enough for then that you're still trying to prove that you're enough to?
Myself.
Yeah, but where did you learn that? Who in
And
your life convinced you, Michael, that you are not enough?
it probably, I'd say it stems from my parents, if I had to guess.
Right. But do you know that, or are you guessing? Like, are they in your life growing up? Did they make you feel consistently that you were enough, that you didn't have to perform, that you didn't? Now, again, just I'm letting all parents off the hook right now. Just FYI, we're all going to screw our kids up in 1,000 ways, even when we try to do it right. I want to make it really clear that we're not talking about good guys and bad guys here. So, Michael, I want you to feel free to say whatever you need, because in pop psychology, it's like, well, who's the bad guy? Who's the good guy? Okay, well, you need to detach from the bad guy and you need to connect to the good. You know what I mean? You got to do all this stuff. I'm not here to do any of that. I'm not that. I'm not a doctor. There's no letters behind my name. I am just a guy trying to give perspective to stories. So what I want to say is there are no good guys and bad guys. So did your parents make you feel fulfilled or like you were enough when you were growing up, or was there a specific set of ways they made you feel you had to perform or act or fill in the blank that that allowed you to receive that, hey, you're good enough compliment?
Yeah, I think, uh, they tried to like make me fulfilled, but like I think it actually pushed me to make me not feel good enough. Like,
Mm-hmm. And how'd they do that?
um, it would have been like I would do played sports a lot growing up, and
Come on. Yeah.
just different stuff like that. I felt like I always played pretty good, but then it would always been like, well, you could have done better or something like that.
Right. So it's not good enough. Hey,
Yeah,
you did great there, but it's just not enough. So it's partial celebration and then partial rejection. So you
yeah.
get the celebration and the rejection all in one hand, which does that mean that you feel like your emotional state is up and down pretty consistently?
Yeah, some days.
Yeah. Do you feel very volatile? Do you default to anger or do you default to depression?
Both,
If
honestly.
I was to ask your wife which one does he default to, what would she tell me?
She would probably say anger, but
Of
there's
course
also,
you would. Don't try to
yeah,
get out of it. You keep your most men keep their sadness in here. They don't do the same with their anger. Their anger goes out here.
yeah,
And what you're angry at is that's still that little boy who got celebrated, but not consistently enough to know that it was true. And so there's a pattern in your story, which I'm sure if we explored more, we could expose more. But this pattern in the story is I was loved enough to know I should have it, but not enough to know that it was always going to be available for me.
yeah,
Does that feel accurate?
yeah. It feels accurate.
Yeah. And the way around that, the way to start getting control over that is you have to start getting control over your instability, your vacillating, your ups and downs. We have to start to get to control that piece because we can't go immediately to the I'm not good enough. The I'm not good enough gets solved when I show up and I'm present in the places where I receive that affirmation and it becomes true to me and I can trust it. And where did you tell me you found that?
With my wife and kids.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't matter how dirty the house is. It doesn't matter how messed up the garage is. It doesn't matter all those things. What matters is can I get time with you? Can I begin to spend and develop connection with you so that I can begin to build trust in a way that I was never able to get it when I was younger? And I think a large part of the story of Michael is going to be going back and recognizing that I actually did deserve to be celebrated. I didn't deserve greater criticism when I was working my butt off. And now that nobody else does that to you, now who's doing it to you?
Me.
Yeah. So now we can start to work on our thought patterns that allow us to start to not just build trust with the people we love and bring down our anxiety and help us feel connected and all those things and make us feel good enough, but also we've got to stop that voice in the head that says, hey, you're a piece of crap or whatever it is. What's the
Yeah.
number one thing? We got to like before we jump off this call, what is the number one thing in your head that you hear that you say to yourself when you're feeling not good enough?
Mm, just pull it together, basically. Do better.
That's it.
Yeah.
So do better, do better, do better, do better. How often are you finding yourself looking in the mirror and saying, I really kicked butt at this today?
No, not very often.
Okay. I want you to practice. I want you to practice this, Michael. I want you every single day to just take 1 minute, set a timer, 1 to 3 minutes. And I want you to look yourself dead in the eyes. I want you to look yourself in the mirror. And I want you to say you did a great job. And then you're going to say what you did a good job at that day. That's it. I want you
Okay.
to look in the mirror and give yourself the affirmation. And listen, this isn't like self affirmation because I got to feel, I'm like trying to whatever. I'm doing that so that my not good enough becomes a everyone around me is good enough instead of me tying it being the anchor that I tie around my family and my community to drag them down to where I am so that I feel not alone. So what I'm saying is we're not doing this to build up ego. We're doing this to start reconnecting with the truth about who we are and the goodness that's already inside of us.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
It feels good. I think it'll be a big help.
Do you feel you'll be able to do that?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely put in the effort.
You got this, man. It's amazing how many men I hear this same language from. They keep saying, I'm not good enough, that I'm not doing enough, that their lie to themselves is, I could always do better. And the truth is, yeah, yes, we can always do better. But the hard part is there's never an arrival. Like, not, you're never going to be a perfect husband. You're never going to be a perfect father or mother. You're never going to be a perfect whatever, fill in the blank, CEO, Christian, whatever it is for you. We're never going to fully arrive. The goal is to stay on the journey. And if we don't stay on the journey, then all we keep doing is projecting that not good enough, not good enough, not good enough on everyone around us so that we get a little bit of reprieve for ourselves and all the lies that we're telling ourselves in our own heads about how we're not good enough and we're not doing enough. And I think if we could just slow down for a minute, and I do want to encourage you guys to take the time to do this, to look in the mirror just once a day is super helpful, especially if this is a major thing you deal with, to look in the mirror and just celebrate one thing you did in the day that you feel is ultimately good, that was actually done well. Just one conversation, one response, one reaction, one thing you were a part of. I think the more consistently we can begin to hear that, we can be reminded of the goodness that's already inside us. And we don't have to go looking out here for it. We can find it inside of ourselves. So let's jump to our next caller. Our next caller on the Work podcast is Lindsay. Lindsay, welcome to the show. What is your question?
Thank you. So basically my question is how to take a conversation that it should just be like a normal question, right? Like I'm talking to my husband, just having a normal question, and it immediately turns into like he gets defensive and it turns into a fight. So like, how do I break that cycle? I don't want to fight. Like I don't want to fight. He's my best friend. So I want to just nip it right away.
All right, give me the
But
type of question you're talking about. Give me an example.
okay, so we're driving down the road and we're like, hey, we're gonna take the RV to my sister's this week, or like, hey, what do you want to do with the RV? Like, you want to go to your sister's? What do you want to do? And he's like, oh, we're gonna go to my. Okay, sorry. Basically, we're driving down the road, we're talking, and I
Yeah.
say, hey, I don't really want to take the RV tomorrow night to your sister's.
Okay.
And then he immediately goes down this like, we're gonna take the RV. Like, I don't care if
Okay.
the gross vehicle weight is over. Like, I just want to take the RV. I don't care really what you think. Like, he already has like all of the answers already in his head, and my brain doesn't think quick enough. And I
Right.
don't want to have a fight. That makes no
Well,
sense.
well, on the other side, so just in that example, let's just say, so there was already a plan to go to his sister's, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so there's already been an agreement, so you were in the wrong for trying to change it at the last minute. So there's the fight. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
There's already been an agreement, and there's already been, now I'm saying this in one example, so please
Oh,
hear
right.
me out. What I'm saying is that in that one example, I wonder if it's a reflection of him feeling like he's heading a very specific direction, and then you going, I want to change that direction last minute because I really didn't agree on the direction prior, or I have different feelings now, or any of those things. If that's the case, the presentation does need to come across differently, because you're not just asking him a question anymore. You're telling him the thing we agreed upon, I don't agree on anymore, which can feel very unsafe for someone on the other side.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. Even,
Like when
yeah,
you,
yeah.
yeah, because when you look back at the other questions, when you look back at the way you're presenting it, how often, maybe that's not an exact truth. I'm not trying to paint that as the picture of every question you ask, obviously. And I'm not trying to paint that into every situation. But just even in that example, it's very telling to go, hey, I really want to be able to sort of say what I want to say. Did you or did you not say yes to going to his, let's do it this way. Did you or did you not say yes to going to his sister's house in the RV?
Yes, I
Okay,
did.
so just, well, let's stop right there. Nope, no, no,
All
no,
right.
no other information. You already said yes. Now, did you or did you not want to go to his sister's house in the RV when you agreed to it?
I did.
So
And
you did.
yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the decision's already been made. You did want to do it. So now what changed your mind?
I was like, oh, we should probably, check the vehicle weight because I have it pretty loaded down and we're not a small
Mhm.
family. So I went we hadn't done it in years. So I went and I checked it, and we were at 13.9 and the max was 14.5.
Great.
But there are other things, like we're about 1,000 pounds. So we were going to be over the vehicle weight if we were going
Yeah.
to take it. But there were other factors that had happened, that between like our older daughter was house sitting, and we didn't have that information when we decided to go to his sister's.
Okay.
So there's like other factors that happen, but I guess I can see what you're saying.
Right.
Because
Because
I mean,
ultimately, if it's overweight, who's going to take care of that?
me in
Okay.
110 degree heat, which is not,
Right.
it was, no, I'm not
But
unpacking
no,
that thing right
no,
now.
but there's the problem. Do you see what I'm saying? You're 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 picking the wrong fight, because what you want to say is, am I safe in saying that when we go, you're going to take care of it? Because if it goes wrong, I feel like I have to be responsible. See, that's a bigger question in your marriage than just the weight of the RV.
Yeah. Can
So
you
what
elaborate there?
Absolutely. What I'm saying is, I'm going to hear it critically, because what I'm hearing you say, when if I'm a man or I'm a husband, or even if he did this to you, what I'm hearing you say is, when you say I don't want to do that anymore, you're, because of the new information you have, you're telling me you don't trust me to take care of it. Now, I may have given you the opinion, I may have become not trustworthy. I may have done 1,000 things that actually you are saying that. But if you don't say that until there's a thing to do, then it will always erupt in conflict.
Mm.
See, we need to have these conversations prior to it exploding in our faces, because it sounds like the root system of the conversation you really want to have is, I don't believe that you're going to take care of the things I need to take care of, and I'm going to be stuck holding the bag if it goes sideways, and then I don't want to be stuck holding the bag this weekend. So now I'm saying no to this event, when really, or this thing that we're supposed to go to, and really I'm just saying no to the fact that I can't trust you to take care of it.
Yeah. And I was really just saying, I still want to go, but we're going to take the car and we're going to skip like
Yes.
her bed. Like it wasn't that I didn't want to go. I didn't feel safe going in the RV, nor did I want to do the hard work of unpacking it in the heat. But it, like,
Right.
his brain goes so quickly, and it probably is a trigger, because I
That's
have
it.
changed plans at the last minute. Like I've like been like, oh no, I'm not going.
There you go.
That's probably a huge trigger for him.
Right, because now here's the good news. Now here's the best part about this. The trigger is, I want to be with you, but I'm not sure if you're going to bail on me on the last minute either.
Yeah.
And I would wonder if it's a trigger because he's experienced that in his life more than just with you.
Yeah. Probably.
Right?
Cause
So when
yeah.
he's being aroused in that way, you are the one that's triggering him. And I'm not saying you're even wrong for trying to say something. What I'm saying is it's a bigger conversation. So the conflict isn't the conflict is never about the conflict. It's always about the root system of the way that we're triggered and the way that we hear things and receive things.
And so like so it's like kind of for him, like when so like there was no like getting a word in edgewise. It
Yeah.
escalated so quickly, and I don't want it to escalate like that. So like how do I like keep it from escalating?
It has
When,
to be
if I
invitational. It has to be invitational. So, hey, are we still thinking about taking the RV this weekend? Yeah, I got it sorted out. Cool. I just wanted to make sure, because is it overweight? Is that going to be a problem? No, it's not. Okay. End of story. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, now if it does go sideways, which you're like, you've preconceived it's going to go sideways. So when you get upset, you're now being triggered by the fact that you know this thing's going to go sideways. This is going to go sideways. So I'm preemptively getting defensive because I'm afraid. You're not mad at him, you're scared.
yeah.
And so scared requires defense. So now I'm going into defense mode. And he wants to be with you, and he doesn't want you to bail on him. And he does want to feel like he can take responsibility for these things. So he's triggered, you're both like, hyper aroused. I'm feeling it in every part of my body. And then I want to fight you, when instead the goal has to be, I want to connect with you and I want to invite you into this thing that I'm thinking about. That's different. And we're not always going to do that right. So please hear me. Like, there's no couple who does this perfectly, but there is the invitational nature of conversation that allows everyone to feel seen and heard, and not to live based on preconceived expectations of what we think is going to happen, even if because it says love always what? Love always trusts. So the
Mhm.
hard part is I can't take my false expectations, no matter how real they feel. I can't place them on this new situation if I'm going to call this love. I have to let it be invitational and give you the benefit of the doubt every single time so that we can build trust. And here's the good part. If it does go sideways, now you have an open door to a deeper conversation. Hey, I would love to talk about what happened this weekend, because most people default to an I told you so, which is never helpful.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
And so I think the fight question ends up being, we need to be invitational, because conflict resolution, we know conflict resolution, just based on the research, Gottmans have done this. Conflict resolution is not how we save marriages. Connection is. So
Yeah.
bids for connection, tools for connection, that's how we save marriages. That's how we do this. And you're not going to do that in the midst of a tense situation. What you're going to have to do, and what he's going to learn to have to do as well, is de-escalate, in the sense that, hey, I'm good. Like, I'm actually just looking for an invitation to have a conversation. And I actually don't need the answer to go the way that I want, which means we might probably just take the RV, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Which is like, for you, feels like, hey, that feels really crappy,
Yeah, it
right?
does. Yeah.
Right. Because you're scared,
Right.
right? But
And that's literally right where that whole conversation went. Because all
that's
of a
it.
sudden, like, we're selling it. I don't care. You never want to take it. But we had just taken it to San
That's
Diego
right.
for right.
Right.
It's
Right.
like,
It's just everybody's responding in fear.
yeah.
You're not going to take care of me, and you're not going to be here for me. Both of you are literally saying the exact same thing.
Right.
And then you're calling it an argument when it's actually not an argument. It actually is two people who are really scared trying to figure out how to manage their fear.
Right.
And so we manage our fear by managing our expectations. And if my expectations are, I'm always going to be disappointed, I'm always going to be rejected, I'm always going to have to be the responsible one, then that means every conversation I get into, I'm immediately defensive before I even ask the question or before I begin the dialogue, because I'm so afraid you're just going to reject me or you're not going to take care of me.
Yeah.
And so those conversations have to happen prior. So what I would do is find space to hold those conversations now, when we don't have the heightened emotion, when we're not trying to make a decision about a trip, when we're not trying to decide whether or not to take the RV. We're just trying to figure out how to have a conversation in the midst of our everyday life.
Yeah. Do you think so? Like lately, because like we both are not perfect, but he'll real quick get on the defensive or like just
Hmm?
just like to go
But
shitty. Like,
don't let yourself off the hook like that. It sounds like you did the same thing. Once the
no.
conversation didn't go the way you wanted, you got defensive too, correct?
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. But
Yeah.
can I give
Okay.
you another
Yeah.
example?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, no, you're totally right. I was totally afraid. Like, I don't want to crash,
Yeah.
like, with all my
Yeah.
kids are my family. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Of course.
didn't want me to cancel the plans like I have a history of doing. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, so, like, lately, I just look at him and I'm like, this isn't really a fun conversation. And I want to have fun with you. Like, I don't want to, I don't want it to go this way. Like, you're
Right.
my this isn't fun, so we could just like not have this conversation right now, or we can talk and have fun. Is that rude?
Uh, Sort of.
It's kind of rude.
If you're going to ask me, if it's rude, you've already predetermined the answer, correct?
Yeah,
Because here's the
it's
problem: you're not doing it to be you. You are doing it to be rude.
well, actually, I'm doing it so that we don't fight.
Right. But if there's an opportunity to go deeper, isn't that better than? Is it better to have that disagreement if it's going to take us deeper than just to choose to escape into something fun? Otherwise, you're just going to end up with 1,000 RV conversations. And that really is the goal. The goal is to break the cycle of the RV conversations by having difficult conversations when we could just check out and have fun. That is what ends up happening.
Yeah.
And the more times we can string together difficult conversations in easy environments, the more we'll feel connected. So when the difficult conversations come up, we have the energy for them and we have the trust for them. And that really is where we're trying to head.
Yeah.
So many people wonder why they get into a conflict when really the question is not why did I get in this conflict? The question is, what was I so afraid of starting that conversation? Like when we get afraid, when we have fear, we build a set of expectations of how this is going to go, how it's going to happen, what I'm going to have to be responsible for, or am I going to get rejected? The 1,000 things on each of us, for each of us, based on our stories and our experiences and our perspective and our lenses, whatever you want to call it. And we end up trying to mitigate our fear by initiating a conflict. Now we think we're just initiating a conversation, but we are initiating the conflict more often than not because we are so afraid of the preconceived outcome that we are afraid is going to happen to us or with us in this situation. Now, how we start a conversation when it comes to mitigating our fears and actually acknowledging them is to speak them out. I would highly encourage you, if you want to have healthy conversations and connections, not with everyone, please, but with those closest to you, it is so helpful to go, hey, I just want to let you know I'm a little afraid. I'm actually a little scared because of this and this. What do you think about that? That's a big difference than I'm walking into it with a preconceived idea of how this is going to go down. So I am charging at you, knowing you're going to push me away, knowing you're going to disagree so that we can have the conflict so I can prove that I'm right. Listen, you're not alone if you're doing that. You're not alone if you're in that cycle, but we can break that cycle by being really honest about what we're afraid of at the very beginning of the conversation. Thanks for joining us in this episode. I'll see you next time on the Work Podcast.